watch the video, watch the full video in order to get more information about the parts. But even if you do not, even if you simply take the list of parts and go away, drop a like and subscribe to the channel because we keep doing this kind of stuff. Hello everyone, welcome back to PC Species. Now, since the flurry of launches has stopped at least for a little while, we are going back to our roots and we are configuring a PC today on a budget. Our target is to get it done around 75,000 rupees. So we'll start with the list of the parts. This is the list of the parts as you can see on the screen now, and our budget has creeped up a little. It is sitting at 78,935 rupees, and that is, I was able to get it done under 75,000, but then I decided to make some changes to the parts, and that is why the budget has gone up, and I'll explain that as we go along. All right. So we'll start with the first part, and that is the processor. So we have went with the AMD Ryzen 5 7600 here, and there are a few reasons for that. First of all, it's on the M5 socket, so there's upgradability in the future. That is something that you do not get with 13th, 14th or even 12th gen Intel. And Core Ultras, they won't fit in the budget, plus they're not very good for gaming, as you might already know. That is why we went with this processor, and it is a pretty good one. 6 cores, 12 threads, 3.7 GHz of base clock and 5.1 boost. So for the most part, this processor is going to do really well in this build. Now we move on to the next part, which is our motherboard. We went with the MSI B650S Pro Wi-Fi. What you get with this board is decent VRMs, Wi-Fi, 4 DIMM slots and PCI Express 4.0 for your graphics card and your SSD. So overall, this is a very good board, and for 13,990, I think it is going to do a very good job, and it is future proof as well because you can drop in even 7000 series processors if you want to go with that, and even 9000 ones. Overall, a very good board in a budget. So we are fixed with this one. All right. You can look around, but I think the best VRMs I saw in this budget for this price was on this board. So this is what you go for. This is what we've gone for. Now, the next part is memory. So ADATA XPG Lancer Blade, 2 sticks of 16 gigs each. Now, this is the first place where you could have saved some money. You could have gone with single sticks, 16 GB each, and that would have been cheaper. I went with a kit because it confirms, it almost, make sure that your memory always runs in dual channel mode. That is why I went with this one. So 5600 megahertz, 32 gigs capacity, more than enough for this build. So this is what we've gone with. Next up, we have the storage, Crucial P3 Plus, 1 terabyte Gen 4 drive. All right. So you get 5000 Mbps read speed, 3600 write speed. Gone with a 500 GB stick, maybe save around 2000 to 2500 rupees in order to stick to the 75,000 budget. But I'd say go with the 1 terabyte drive because again, the size of the games nowadays is almost atrocious. So I think 1 terabyte is minimum that you're going to need. Next up, we have the crown jewel, so to speak. This card is not so good, but then again, for a gaming PC, the graphics card is one of the most important components, if not the most important. So this is what we went with. RTX 4060 Windforce, 8 GB, 26,450. Now, I also did a budget PC in around 50,000 rupees, and this was the card that I used there as well. Now in this one, I decided to upgrade the processor instead of the graphics card. Now I know not a lot of people like this graphics card and 8 gigs of VRAM. Many people might scoff at that, but for the budget, I think this is the best card that we can get. And for 1080p, and for 1080p gaming, it is more than enough. So I'd say you go with this one, and the alternatives in AMD, they're not so good, at least not in this budget. So this is the best we can do for this budget, and for this price, I think this graphics card is a really good one, and it will serve you really well for years to come on a 1080p monitor. Next up, we have the power supply. Again, another department where you could have saved some money. We went with the Corsair CX750, 5,699 rupees. 750 watts. That is pretty good and also very future proof. Now, again, you could have saved around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees by going with a 550 or 650 watt power supply. And even a 550 would have been enough for the components that we've chosen. But I went with the 750 because again, it future proofs your build to some extent. And Corsair, they're long lasting PSUs. I've been using one for a very long time and it is still working just fine. So I'd say go with a 750, but then again, it depends on you. If you want to save some money, you can go with a 650 or even a 550. The last of our parts is the Antec NX501. This is the cabinet for 2,299 rupees. You get a ventilated front panel and a single exhaust fan. There are no other fans in this one. This is not a fancy case at all. It is a simple, focused case in which you can build and have your PC running fairly cool. You can add some fans to it. That might help matters a little, but then again, the parts we've chosen, they don't run very hot. So I think this would be just fine. If you want to go with another case which has maybe ARGB fans or whatever you want to do, goes up the budget 500, 700, 1,000 rupees. The case I think is subjective. So it depends on what you want to go with. But for me, I think this a bare bones, a very good and functional case. So that is why we went with this one. So this was the list of our parts and the total comes out to 78,935. So I'd say that for this price, for this budget, this is just about the best gaming PC you can build. Now, a lot of people might say that they could have went with Intel, which would have been a faster processor. Now, you may have seen benchmarks in which the Intel processors may have been faster than this one, but then again, those benchmarks are done on higher end graphics cards. For this one, even the 7600 is almost an overkill, but even then, I think they are going to gel pretty well and work just fine. So these are the list of the parts. They are going to be in the description as well. You can check them out. Check them out at your local retailers as well. You may find them for cheaper. So this is it for this one and we'll see you in the next one. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot.